Good evening, everybody, or good morning, whenever you're gonna watch this. Getting ready for mat Pilates. I'm gonna give it just a couple seconds before I hop in. I'm a minute early, but I wanted to just make sure I'm in the right place and give some time for people to come on. My name is Laura. For those of you that maybe haven't taken class with me before, my class was on Wednesday afternoons at the Y. So if you are brand new to Pilates, welcome. And I want you to just be gentle with yourself. Listen to my cues and do what you can, okay? So I will show some variations, some options to make things more challenging and some options to make things less challenging if that's where you are today. We're all in a different place, so do what you can, rest when you need to rest, and we'll have some fun. So I am in my basement, so I apologize if you hear my children upstairs running around, but such is life right now, right? They will not interrupt us. So get your mat, get your water, and go ahead and lie onto your back on your mat. I'm on my reformer here that's set up as a mat, so that's why I'm a little bit elevated here. And I want you to lie down with your feet flat on your mat and your arms long by your side. Now, if you post a question or a comment, I'm not going to be able to see it because I'm not close enough to my phone. So hopefully all is going well. Take your arms long by your side, feet flat on the floor. You have a nice neutral spine, meaning you have a little space between your lower back and the mat, okay? So just relax everything. Relax the chest, relax the shoulders, the arms, the hip flexors. We'll talk a little bit more about the hip flexors as we go through class. Everything just kind of relaxed in this position. We're going to start with our breath. Our inhales are through our nose. Our exhales are through our mouth. So take a moment to find a few breaths here. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Again, inhale. And exhale. So in Pilates, we want that air to fill our lungs, right? Well, in life we want the air to fill our lungs. But we want our rib cage to rise and fall rather than our belly to go out and in, which might be a little bit of a different breathing pattern than we're used to. So take a moment to inhale and exhale. And on your next exhale, I want you to actively draw the belly button in, engaging your core. Now don't change the position of your back. Just engage your core, meaning belly button's drawn in and everything's nice and strong and connected. Hold that there for your next few breaths. Breathing is such an important part of Pilates, so that's why we take some time in the beginning to really focus on that. And then on your next exhale, what I want you to do is tilt the pelvis and gently press your lower back down into the mat. So now you've closed that space between your lower back and the mat, and you've drawn your belly button in into what we call our imprint position, which is that pelvic tilt, imprinting the spine into the mat. And now I want you to rock back to that neutral spine that we started in. And exhale, rock to imprint, and inhale back to neutral. Again, exhale to imprint, inhale to neutral. Exhale, imprint, drawing that belly button in, and neutral. One more like that. Exhale, imprint, inhale, neutral. Now we're going to exhale, imprint the spine, and start to roll up, lifting those hips up to the ceiling. So now we're in our bridge. We've activated the hamstrings and the glutes now. The back of the body needs to turn on for us. Our hips are even, our core is engaged, and we're relaxed through the upper body. And now I want you to exhale as you melt back down to the mat, rolling back down the spine. All the way back to that neutral spine where we started class. And again, exhale, imprint the spine, rolling up to your bridge. Hold at the top, take a nice inhale. And exhale, melting back down to the mat. We're going to go one more just like that. Exhale, imprint the spine, rolling up, up, up. Hold it here. So now we're going to focus on those hamstrings and glutes here. We're going to keep this bridge. Keep the hips even. I want you to lift your right foot 2 inches off the mat, place it down. Left foot 2 inches, place it down. Now hopefully you see my foot not lifting high up off the floor, right? My intention is a couple inches, place it down. So what we're focusing on here is as we're shifting the weight, feel that supporting leg kick in, right? Holy hamstrings and glutes. So this is a nice little warm up. And we're focusing on keeping the hips even. Don't let the hip drop just because the foot lifted, right? Lift, lower. Lift, lower. We'll go 3 and 2 and 1. Both feet are down. Roll it down the spine and give the knees a hug. Man, I wish I could see you guys. It's not quite as exciting doing it by myself. So throughout this class, especially if you are new to me, you'll find that I don't often give you a rest period. And that's purposeful, okay? Pilates is supposed to flow one thing into the next, like a beautiful dance, okay? So that's my intention. But if you need a rest, you take it. This is your workout, your body, you know it best. So with that said, this is a great resting position to go to, a nice little stretch for the lower back. All right? Bring those knees up to what we call tabletop position, meaning the knees are directly over the hips and they're about at 90 degrees. Arms are long by your side, belly button's drawn in. We're going to start with some gentle toe taps. Tap, exhale, lift, tap, tap. So this is a gentle warm up for the core. Core meaning front and back. It's not just all about abdominals, right? We know this. And by gently moving this bent leg, we're forced to stabilize through our center. Tap, lift, tap, lift. If you're ready to take it up a notch, you're going to stretch the leg long. Reach, return. Reach, return. So whenever we take that, what we would call a lever, right? That leg is a nice long lever. Whenever we reach it further away from our center, it requires more stabilization. Reach, return. If your back is leaving the mat, your leg is too low, meaning that leg might need to reach a little higher, or you might need to go back to those toe taps, okay? Keep going for me. We're warming up that core. If you feel ready, we're going to take up the speed. Reach and switch and switch and switch. 3 and 2 and 1 and hug the knees. So hopefully we've warmed up the body a little bit here. We're going to hop right into our crunches to start. So the knees back up to tabletop position, arms straight up to the ceiling. I want you to exhale as you lift your head and shoulders and your arms reach long by your side. Inhale back to the beginning. Exhale, lift. Inhale, return. Exhale, lift. Inhale, return. If having your legs up right now is just too much for you, place them down. Exhale, lift. If having your legs in tabletop is not enough of a challenge, you can go ahead and extend those legs straight up. I'm going to bring mine back to tabletop just because that's kind of our intermediate position here. I want you to lift and hold. Reach those arms long by your side. See if you can lift the upper body another inch. And we're going to start to pump the arms. We inhale for 5 and exhale for 5. Keep going. This is the 100. Again, if you need to place those feet down, go for it. If you're ready for more of a challenge, extend those legs long. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your whole body goes long. Legs are long on the mat. Arms are reaching above your head into our roll up. Inhale, arms come up to the ceiling. Exhale, rolling up off the mat, over to the toes, control yourself all the way back down. And again, inhale, arms come up. Exhale, up off the mat. Over to the toes. Scooping the belly. Roll it back down. And again, use that breath. You want to stay right in the center of your spine. If you're noticing that your body is pulling towards one side, that's actually very common. Pay attention to that and really focus on getting up right in the center, okay? Sometimes when we have our imbalances, our body naturally wants to pull to the side that's stronger because it's going to be easier to get us up, right? Keep going, my friends. Keep going. I want 2 more of these. Exhale, up, over to the toes, controlling your way back down. Then we've got our last one here. Use that breath, make it count. And over. And control it down, nice and slow, all the way back down. Great, pull that right knee into your chest, adjust yourself if you need to. Sometimes your pants shift a little bit when you do roll-ups or the mat moves. Pull that right knee into your chest. Nice little stretch here. Take your left hand onto your right knee and I want you to guide it across your body for a gentle spinal twist. Breathe into that. You can let that right arm extend out to the side if that feels right for you. Let's bring it back to center. Straighten that leg up to the ceiling. If you'd like, you can lift the head and shoulders to get into that gentle hamstring stretch. And while you're there, take a look down at the left leg. Make sure it's coming right out from the hip and not floating away to the edge of the mat. We want it just as if you're standing on it, right out from that hip. Now keep the right leg up, take the head and shoulders down, arms are long by your side. Draw your belly button in, your right leg slightly crosses your center line, circle around and up. Inhale and exhale. These are our leg circles here. So our leg circles are about our core stability, meaning that our hips are solid. They're not wobbling side to side. Our core is engaged. Let's reverse the circle. And around. Inhale and exhale. So if you find yourself wobbling all over the place, you need to draw that belly button in and make that circle even smaller. One more. That leg stops in the center. Flex the foot, press through the heel. Really push that heel up to the ceiling, pull the toes back towards you. You should feel a nice stretch all the way up the back of that leg. Slowly lower it down. 3, 2, 1. Left knee pulls into your chest. So you'll hear me cueing your breathing pattern a lot. Probably more so than you even want to hear it, but it's so important. Let's take our right hand onto our left knee and guide it across our body for that gentle spinal twist. Oftentimes, people hold their breath when they exercise. We all know this. We've all done it. So for me to cue the breathing pattern for you is very important for you to pay attention. If it's getting you all caught up and you don't know when's an inhale, when's an exhale, just keep breathing. Come back to center. Straighten that leg up for me. Lift the head and shoulders if that feels right for you. Take a look down at that right leg. Make sure it's coming right out from the hip as if you were standing on it. Breathe into that hamstring stretch. Keep the leg up. Head and shoulders come down. Arms are long by your side. Belly button's drawn in. Leg slightly crosses your center line. Circle around and up. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And you might hear me kind of over-exaggerating the breath. I want you to be able to hear my breathing. Let's reverse the circle. And honestly, that's exactly how I usually do it. Out to the side and around. I want one more. Flex the foot. Pull those toes back. Feel that stretch through the back of the leg. Slowly lower down. 3, 2, 1. Pulling both knees into your chest. Rock yourself up to a seated position for rolling like a ball. Pull those heels in close to your body and take a little tilt back so you're balancing. I'm going to move forward just a tad here. So we're balancing here. Our shoulders are down. Remember that. Our shoulders are down. Shoulder blades grounded onto the back. Scoop the belly and your gaze goes down towards your belly button. We're going to inhale, rock back to the shoulder blades. Exhale, rock up to a balance. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. If you're having a hard time getting back up with your hands down by your ankles, take your hands underneath your thighs. Inhale and exhale. Scoop and return. 2 more. Scoop and return. I want last one here. Scoop, return. Stay up at the top here. I want you to place both feet down. Okay? And you're going to take your right hand behind your right ankle. Just going to take a little hamstring stretch here. Left foot is down. Long spine for me. I want you to extend that leg as much as you can. Maybe that's all you got, okay? Extend and return down. Same side. Extend, return. I want just one more. Extend and hold. 3, 2, 1. Return. Same thing, left leg. Take your left hand behind your left ankle. Right foot is down. And extend up and return. I want you to try to focus on a nice long spine as well. Extend. Lots to think about here, right? Up and hold. 3, 2, 1. Return. Come onto your back for me. Head and shoulders are lifted. We're in a little ball. Knees are hugged in for a moment. A nice little stretch for the lower back. We're going into the ab series here. 5 exercises in a row. 2 hands come onto the right leg. Your left leg goes long. Exhale, switch. Exhale, switch. And switch. And switch. I'm not jamming my knee up to my chin, okay? My upper body is really not moving at all. Nice active pull. And as I'm pulling, that opposite leg is reaching long to the wall in front of me. The ab series is probably my favorite. One of my favorites, I should say. 1 more each side. Now both knees hug in. Double leg stretch. The legs go long and your arms reach above your head. Pull it in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So you might notice that my head and shoulders are not lowering as my arms go back. Right? My arms just stay within my peripheral vision and I reach them overhead. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale and exhale. I want 1 more. And then both legs reach up to the ceiling. Nice and straight if you can. 2 hands come behind the right leg. The left leg lowers down towards the floor. Stops about a foot above it. Exhale, switch. Exhale, switch. Getting a nice little hamstring stretch in here, in addition to our core work. I want 1 more each side, and then the legs are finishing up to the ceiling. Hands come behind your head. Turn your legs out, externally rotate out the hips, to what we call our Pilates V. Our heels are hugging together to help engage up through our inner thighs. The legs are lowering about 6 inches for a count of 3, 2, 1, lift. 3, 2, 1, lift. Keep going. If your back is leaving the mat, your legs have gone too far. Draw that belly button in and control yourself. Sure, some of you might be able to lower all the way down to the floor. Fabulous. Most of us cannot. So we're starting at the top and controlling our way down. I want one more. And now knees come to tabletop, and the series finishes with our crisscross. Elbow to opposite knee. Really get into that twist. Feel like you're bringing your shoulder, not just your elbow. Reach. I want 3 and 2 and 1 and rest. Whatever position feels right for you, hug the knees, stretch your body long, whatever makes you happy. And here I want you to take a moment to grab a sip of water if you have it. We're going to switch positions here. Usually when I teach at the Y, I don't do the class with you guys, which of course I would love to, but I need to see your moving bodies. Not worry about my workout. I need to see what you guys are doing on the mat. And if I'm on my own mat looking at the ceiling, I can't see you. So I'm really feeling some withdrawals here, not being able to see any bodies. So I want you to sit with your legs straight in a small V. Now, if you cannot sit with your legs straight and a flat back, I want you to slightly bend your knees, okay? If you have a yoga block handy, you can sit on it. I mentioned this last week if you joined me last week. So what that does is it takes some of the stretch out of that hamstring and glute and lower back by opening up that angle at the hip, right? Because you're not so crunched up. So this is an option, okay? If you don't have a yoga block or a yoga mat, an extra yoga mat you can roll up, then slightly bend the knees, okay? If you hate being in this position right now, you need to kind of check yourself and say, okay, what do I need to work on that is an issue for me? And I'll get into that in a moment because I love all that stuff. So take the arms out in front of you, shoulder height, shoulder width. If your shoulders are riding up to your ears, you need to drop them down. They belong down. Belly button drawn in, growing nice and tall up to the ceiling, like you're really getting pulled by a string up. Scoop in the belly, and it's like we're going up over a beach ball. Our head, our shoulders, our upper back going up over a beach ball. And then we're stacking that spine back up to our flat back that we started with. And again, growing tall, scooping that belly in, reaching up over the beach ball. And then stacking that spine back up. I want one more here. Growing tall, scooping that belly up over the ball. And stacking the spine. Good. I want to take a nice side stretch. You guys stay where you are. I'm turning towards the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Pretending my legs are straight on. I want a nice long side stretch. And as we stretch to the side, I want you to soften that elbow that you're leaning towards because this is not a thing. Okay, this is getting nothing for us. Nice soft elbow, lengthening, really reach as if somebody's pulling your arm. And we bring it up. Other side, soft elbow. So as you're reaching away, you're also grounding that hip. So don't let the whole body move, right? Ground that left hip as the left arm reaches up and over. And bring it up. Good. I'm going to have everybody come to side lying, please. So you're lying on your side. And your head can be in your hand, or if you have neck issues, back issues, any shoulder issues, I need you to extend that arm long and rest. I shouldn't have worn earrings. Rest your head on your arm, because this clearly gets your head in line with your spine much nicer than this does, okay? With that said, I like to keep my head up. I don't have any injuries, and I know I can stay fully engaged. Belly button drawn in, hips are stacked. Top hand goes right down in front of your chest. Top leg lifts just hips distance. Nobody's legs up here. Hips distance. Belly's drawn in. I've said it 74 times. The leg comes forward and the leg goes back. We point it as it goes forward. We flex it as it goes back. Keep moving. So what we don't want to happen is we don't want that leg to go so far back that we start to move with it, right? So we're going forward and we're pressing that heel back, press, press, press slightly into a little hyperextension back as we really engage the hamstrings and the glutes. Forward and back. I want one more. Forward and back. Coming back to our neutral position. That foot is flexed, meaning the toes are pulling back, or excuse me, the toes are pulling up like towards your chin. Little lifts, up, up, up. So as we press through that heel, it really helps us to connect mind to body and really focus on working up through the back of the leg. Clearly we're working the abductors here, our outer thighs. But as we flex that foot and press through the heel, just as you would if you're doing a squat, right? They say, you know, make sure that foot is planted, not on your toes. Same concept. It helps us to work up through the back of the leg. 3, 2, 1. I want you to point the foot, and we're going to finish off with circles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep that core engaged. 7, 8, 9, 10. Reverse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest the leg. We're going to swivel right on over to the other side. I did a bar class earlier this week, and so my legs are really not enjoying this. But it's good for me. I know where my imbalances are, and this is an area that I have trouble with. So all the more reason I should be doing it. Hips are stacked, belly button drawn in. Lift that top leg hips distance from the bottom leg. And the leg comes forward with a pointed foot, and it goes back with a flexed foot. And forward, and back, and forward, and back. So really focus on that hamstring and glute as you press back. The more we connect our brain to our muscles, the more we're going to get out of this. 2 more. Last one. And bring it back to center. I want you to flex that foot, little lifts, up, up. So really press to that heel like I talked about on the other side, up, up. So working the abductors and the adductors, the inner and outer thighs, are so important because our daily movements don't usually require side to side movement, right? 3, 2, 1, point the foot, we circle. So working these other muscle groups are so important, and that's what I love about Pilates, is that it really gets everything reversed. And if you're a counter, I might be driving you insane right now because I don't often count. We'll go 3, 2, 1, rest the leg. But I've been doing this long enough to be a good estimator. So I'm going to have you come onto your back. You don't have to flip around. I'm just flipping around so you can see me a little bit better. Come onto your back. Give the knees a little hug. We're going to go into some more abdominal work here in our supine position. So I want you to bring the knees to tabletop, and you're going to bring your arms up to the ceiling. And at the beginning of class, we were doing some crunches. We're going to start there. Here we go. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, return. Exhale, crunch. So now you may choose to stay here. If you're ready for more of a challenge, we're going to bring this up to what we call a modified teaser. So on our next crunch, we're actually going to come all the way up to a modified V-sit. And then we control ourselves back down. You may choose to stay at the crunch, right? If that's where you are. And exhale up. Inhale at the top. Exhale down. I want 2 more. Exhale up. Exhale down. Last one. Exhale up. And exhale down. Excellent. Take the legs straight up to the ceiling. I'm saying excellent like I see you. I wish I could see you. Take the legs straight up. And if that means a slightly bent knee, that's okay. Legs are up, arms are long by your side. Legs are zipped together, so I want some kind of connection in between the legs. Preferably the heels, okay? But I know everybody's structure of your leg is different. So some kind of connection between the legs. We're making a small circle with both legs to the right, followed by a small circle to the left. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Keep going. This is our corkscrew. We inhale and exhale. Pay attention to what's going on in your upper body right now. Okay? Pay attention to what's going on in the hip flexors. Inhale and exhale. Last one. Hug the knees. Rock yourself up to a seated position. Place the feet down on the mat, but your knees are staying bent. Okay? Knees are bent. Feet can be flat or flexed, whatever makes you happy. Take your arms straight out in front of you, shoulder height, shoulder width. Scoop in the belly. Feel like you're tucking it up underneath your rib cage, and you're going to exhale, roll about halfway back and hold. Holding here. Hold and breathe. So I mentioned the hip flexors, which is the front of the hip right here, okay? If they are clenching right now and on fire, you need to really focus on that mind-body connection and try to relax through those hip flexors. They should not be doing that much work for you right now. We need to focus on drawing that belly button up and in, and this is all core here. I want little mini crunches up, up. Yes. 5, 4, 3, 2, hold. Hold and breathe. Maybe you're down further than I am. Maybe you're up further than I am. Don't worry about where I am. Worry about where you're going to feel the most work. 10 more. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Holding 4, 3, 2, 1. Sitting up tall for me. Straighten those legs out in front of you and take a nice long reach forward. And now maybe that's hands resting on your shins. Maybe that's reaching towards the feet. You do what's right for you. Breathe into that stretch. And now bringing yourself up, I want you to flip over so you're on your stomach. Okay, you're going to be lying on your stomach, and you're going to make a pillow for your forehead with your hands. So your forehead will be resting on your hands. So when you're lying in this position, I'm going to get into this position in a moment, but I don't want my face down to the mat so you can't hear me. I want you to be able to relax everything, okay? So you're lying on your stomach, okay, in our prone position, and just relax. You should have no tension in the upper body, no tension in the lower back, no tension through the glutes, through the hamstrings. Just relax. Shoulders are not creeping up to your ears, just resting. So now we're going to start to pay attention to what we're doing here. We're going to evenly press the hip bones down into the mat, okay? I want it even. So if you find that you have some tightness on the left side of your lower back, you might need to mentally really breathe, exhale, breathe into that and relax that so that the hips are evenly pressed down to the mat. Your belly button's going to be drawn in and drawn away from the mat. And you're going to keep that position through all of our spinal extension exercises here, okay? Spinal extension is so, so important. I want your forehead resting on your hands, and your hands are going to move with you like they're glued there. We're going to inhale, lift the upper body up off the mat. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Now keep moving. You're going to find that naturally you want to push your belly button into the mat to get higher. Don't do that. Okay? We're not at a gymnastics meet. I don't care how high you're getting into that hyperextension there through the spine. I want you to draw the belly button in and focus on our posterior chain, our lower back, our glutes, our hamstrings, all working together to lift and lower. Again, lift and lower. One more, lift and lower. Now take a moment to sit back to a child's pose, just to stretch in that opposite position, because our spinal extension exercises, it's not a very common movement, right, for us during our daily living. If this position doesn't feel right for you, I want you to come to hands and knees and do a nice stretch, rounding the back. So whenever we move through that spinal extension, it's not an endurance group of exercises. We're not going to do it for 5 minutes in a row. We're going to pay attention to our muscles moving properly, do a few repetitions, and make the most of it. So we're going to come back onto our stomach. And now if you don't have any lower back injuries or problems or pain, I want you to take your arms down by your side, palms facing the ceiling. If you do feel like you need that extra support, keep your hands where they were. Otherwise, arms are long by your side, palms facing the ceiling, belly's drawn in. We're going to inhale, lift the upper body. And as we do, the arms press up and we lower down. And we inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Lift. I want 2 more. Inhale, lift. And last one, lift and lower. Again, sit back to that child's pose, please. And if that's not right for you, you're going to come into that all fours stretch. So whether you are in child's pose or on all fours, I want you to come to your hands and knees at this time for a little kneeling work. So your wrists are right underneath your shoulders, your knees are under your hips, okay? We have a nice long neutral spine, meaning you probably have a little bit of a dip in your lower back, a natural curve in your lower back. Don't lose that. Keep that there. Draw the belly button in. Don't change the position of your back, okay? Reach the left leg long behind you, about parallel to the floor, no higher. Opposite arm, so right arm now reaches out in front of you. Hold your balance. Nothing fancy here. Belly's drawn in. We're focusing on our balance. Your gaze is just a little above your fingertips. If you can see your knees, you need to lift that head. Holding 3, 2, 1, lower down. Other leg goes out behind you, about parallel to the floor, no higher. Opposite arm in front, find your balance. If you are wobbling all over the place, you need to focus on your core. That's where your balance comes from. Holding 3, 2, 1, place that down. We're going to work into our planks here because I don't know where the time goes. So our wrists are under our shoulders, Okay, we're gonna take one foot back, toes are down, toes are flexed, right? Just like you're ready for a plank, stand on those toes. So legs are long. If you need to be on your elbows for any reason, go right ahead. Belly button's drawn in. You got a nice long line from the top of your head to your heels. We're not doing any marathon planks today. We're holding, we're breathing, we're focusing on our core. If you can, your legs are zipped together. Okay, that creates a little less stability, which is more challenging. We're holding 3, 2, 1. Lower the knees, sit back to a child's pose if that feels right for you. Otherwise, it's all fours. Nice little stretch. Then we're going to come back to this plank position. Now, before we do that, while you're still enjoying that stretch, we're going to work a little bit of shoulder stabilization here. So if you have rotator cuff injuries or a tear or anything of the sort, the plank is fine to do as long as it's not painful. But I'm going to ask you to not do our shifting movement that we're going to add here, okay? So what it does, if you have an intact rotator cuff, it's going to help strengthen that, okay? So find your plank, nice long body, and we're going to shift forward and back. So the movement is really initiating at the ankles. Shift, return, shift, return. I want 3 more. Shift, last 2. Inhale, exhale, last one, and rest. Back to that child's pose or all fours stretch. Do what's right for your body. Beautiful. And we're going to come up to a high kneeling position. Okay? My head might be cut off. That's all right. Okay, so I want to do a hip flexor stretch here with you because it's already been 45 minutes. Unbelievable. I want you to take your right foot out in front of you a little bit further out from right underneath the knee, okay? We're going to shift the body forward, and that knee is going to be about over the ankle, and we've opened up this left hip flexor. I talked a little bit last week about tight hip flexors sometimes creating lower back pain, okay? So pay attention to what this feels like for you, or even as we were moving through some of the core exercises, if your hip flexors were trying to kick in and help with everything, take some time to do these nice hip flexor stretches, okay? Breathe into that. Because what happens is our hip flexors do a lot of work, right? Anytime we flex the hip, it's working. Anytime we walk, we get up, we walk upstairs. Come on out of that stretch. You can do the same thing other side. I'm going to just swivel around. You don't need to. And we're going to stretch into that hip flexor. So it's used to doing a lot of work for us. So then when we want to try to access the abdominals, especially the lower abdominals as we work through some of this more intense core work, the hip flexors say, hey, I'm here. Let me do some of the work when we don't really want that to happen. So that mind-body connection I was talking about quite a bit today is so important for these exercises. We don't need the hip flexors helping us out with our abdominal and lower back work, right? So pay attention to what your body feels like. And come on out of that stretch. Sit down comfortably, whatever that is for you, okay? I don't care, legs straight, legs crossed, legs open, whatever makes you happy. I want you to take a nice long side stretch again, up and over. And other side. I think it's a miracle that I didn't hear my children upstairs. I did hear the dog. Hopefully you didn't hear the dog barking. The dog's wondering when we're gonna leave. I think he's sick of us. Bring it up. I want a nice inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. All right, my friends, that was it for Wednesday night. I think I'm gonna see you again next week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please feel free to ask any questions below. I'm here to help out, even though I can't see you in person. I'll do the best I can. Have a great night, everybody.